I want to welcome you back to the channel. I had a wonderful, peaceful morning this morning, and I'm still maintaining that tranquil, delicious balance of awareness and peace within my heart. And I want to thank you all for sharing that type of energy with me. But today's presentation is titled, When Awareness Turned You Into an Outsider. Thinking has consequences. And when I put the notes down for this and had my thought on this, it really let me know that not that you have to be careful with who you're around, of course you have to, but just be aware that their level of awareness may not be your level of awareness. And when you speak to them, assuming that they have that level, somehow you picked up that they might be a little bit more advanced, but their reaction to what you may have said lets you know that you may have been wrong. And it makes you feel alone oftentimes, because it's quite a joy when you connect with a kindred spirit who's on a certain similar level of awareness. But you are alone most of the time. Not the kind of alone where no one is around, but the kind that sits inside your chest, even in crowded rooms. And that's the loneliest feel of all. It shows up when conversations feel shallow, when laughter feels forced, and when you realize that no one around you is really seeing what you see. It happens quietly. You share a thought, ask a question, or pause instead of agreeing, and suddenly the energy shifts. People look uncomfortable. The silence gets thick. In those moments, you start wondering if something is wrong with you. But here's the truth. The problem is you. But not because you're broken. It's because you notice too much. You question too much. You think beyond what's expected. And in a world that survives on comfort, that makes you dangerous. Most people don't want truth. They want stability. They want routines that feel safe and ideas that don't shake the ground beneath them. When you think deeply, you disturb that balance without even trying. That's why this kind of loneliness hurts so much. It isn't chosen. It's the natural result of seeing clearly in a world that prefers not to look. The moment you stop repeating what you were taught and start examining it, something changes. You no longer move with the crowd. You hesitate where others rush. You question what others accept. And that alone puts distance between you and almost everyone else. People don't isolate thinkers through meetings or plans. It happens instinctively. The group senses the one who doesn't move in rhythm and pushes them to the edge. Not out of cruelty, but out of fear. Because if your questions are allowed to stand, their certainty begins to crack. Most people build their lives on borrowed beliefs. They don't examine them because examining them would mean facing the possibility that they've been wrong for years. That kind of realization is painful, so they avoid it at all costs. When you show up with honest questions, you don't feel like help to them. you feel like a threat. Your presence forces reflection, and reflection threatens comfort. So they label you difficult, negative, or complicated. They say you think too much. They tell you to relax. Relax into what? A life lived on autopilot? Deep thinking removes you from the game most people are playing. While others chase approval, you chase clarity. While others seek validation, you seek alignment. These paths don't run parallel. They move in opposite directions. That's why shallow conversations exhaust you. That's why social gatherings feel draining. You're not antisocial. You're uninterested in pretending. And once you see the difference, you can't unsee it. Society doesn't punish thinkers with prisons anymore. It uses something far more effective: exclusion, silence, distance. Humans are wired to fear being cast out, so most people learn early to keep their thoughts to themselves. But you didn't stop. And now you feel the weight of it. Here's the trap no one warns you about. Suppressing your thoughts doesn't make life easier. It makes you hollow. Every time you pretend to agree, something inside tightens. Over time, the pressure turns into frustration, bitterness, and quiet resentment. People call it overthinking, but the real damage comes from thinking without living honestly. Once awareness wakes up, it doesn't go back to sleep. You may wish you can return to ignorance, but you can't. You've seen behind the curtain, and living blindly after that feels like betrayal. The irony is that progress depends on people like you. Growth never comes from those who follow without question. It comes from those who disrupt comfort and expose weakness in old ideas. Yet while you live, you're resisted. Only later, long after the danger has passed, are those ideas accepted. That's the price of thinking ahead of your time. So why continue? Because the alternative is worse. The alternative is living a life that doesn't feel like yours. Smiling through routines that drain you. Reaching the end of your days knowing you played a role instead of living a truth. Thinking takes courage. Not physical courage, but mental courage. The willingness to stand alone rather than live falsely. The strength to accept isolation over self-betrayal. And once you accept that, something changes. Loneliness stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like distance. Distance that allows you to see clearly. Depth requires space. You can't stay on the surface and expect to understand what lies beneath. That doesn't mean you'll always be alone. It means your connections will be fewer, but real. You won't find them in crowds or trends. You'll find them in quiet conversations, shared curiosity, and moments of mutual honesty. And most importantly, you stop apologizing for your mind. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You stop diluting truth to fit in. Because every time you do, you strengthen the very system that rejects you. Thinking is freedom, and freedom has always made people uncomfortable. Here's the paradox. The moment you stop trying to belong, you begin to attract those who truly see you. Not many, never many, but enough. These connections don't rely on performance or agreement. They're built on shared awareness, shared searching, shared courage. You may never be rewarded for thinking deeply while you're alive, but deep thought always leaves a mark. Real ideas don't disappear. They grow quietly, long after the noise fades. Yes, thinking will isolate you. Yes, it will cost you comfort. Yes, it will make life harder in many ways, but it will also make life real. The worst fate isn't loneliness. It's reaching the end of your life and realizing you were never honest with yourself. So choose to think, even when it hurts. Choose clarity, even when it separates you. Choose truth, even when it costs you acceptance. Because when everything else is stripped away, the only thing you keep is who you were when no one was watching. And if you've lived awake, you'll find it was worth it. And that's why I always stay true to myself. If I see something, I will not be gaslit to think that it didn't happen. And if you want to believe that it went a different way, then you can go on and play pretend. I'm rock solid in what I experience, and I'll never turn away from those experiences and the lessons and the wisdom that it taught me. Because so many of us seek acceptance and to be allowed into the club. No, I don't need that if I have to strip away who I am from myself to pretend and live a life that doesn't belong to me. The superficial foolishness, that's what it is, just simply superficial. And we have too many people out here who are covertly seeking to destroy you being rooted because they don't like what you see in your truth. So they can't stick their head in the sand deep enough, so you must be destroyed. And I don't mean taken off the face of the earth, but your character destroyed, or for many to turn away from you after the smear campaign has gone on. Because your deep thinking, your logical thinking, your real thinking, and the real questions that you ask and the inquiries that rattle these folks drives them crazy in the midnight hour when they think about how you are and how you think. They know that you're not going to go for the mediocre foolishness of playing pretend just to fit in. No, I stand alone no matter where I go, and I don't expect any entourage around me except for the few who I vibe with, who know that they're close to me. Even when they're not physically close, they're close in heart. They can live on the other side of the planet. It doesn't matter. That's what I'm talking about on a deeper level. Because when you have that spiritual connection, these hollows, these trolls, these people who have no direction except to follow what's been put out there before them and never question it, they'll have no meaning in your life. Seriously. They're just bodies, hollow bodies with no soul. And that leads me to the question where how many of us do have souls? There are many people I believe that are walking around that are not really human. I'm convinced of that. That every time you see them, their mission is to agitate you in some form or fashion, directly or indirectly. It could be on a job, it could be a neighbor, it could be any person who doesn't have a clear-cut goal of what they want in their life. They might be holding it down and paying their bills and doing certain things, but deep down, there's nothing more to it than that. You question those entities around you. Question everything around you. That's how you sharpen your sword and cut through life like a hot knife through butter. You don't want to dull your knife by accepting other people's beliefs that were never tested and never questioned. And that's the problem with the world today. This is why the world is so messed up. We believe the fallacy and never test it out for ourselves, because testing it and thinking is too much work for us to do. But it's necessary. And it brings us to a level of peace that those others could never attain. And that's what scares them. Much love to you all. I just had to share these thoughts and know that I care for you a lot. And you can always find me here. Always. I'm not going to be on all of the social media platforms that I've been on. Some I will reduce, but if you're hearing me here, wherever the here may be, I will be here. But I've already cut loose certain ones. And if you reach out to me on Facebook and I don't answer, it's because Facebook has given me many issues to attaining those pages again. So until that time, reach out to me in other areas. You can hit me on WhatsApp, on my phone. You can text me, you can call me. The texting is fine and safe because I might be busy at the time. And the number will be down in the bottom of the banner. But anyway, I'm going to continue on my journey of sharing what I've learned. Maybe you know it already. Share it with somebody who doesn't. Maybe you don't know. We all have to learn from each other. We're all needy of each other and not this artificial man-made world. But much love to you all. I'm heading out. I'll come back in a little while with Brother Malik, and I'll do some more of my own presentations afterward. I just want to thank you for being here with me. Peace.